We are ready. Yep. We are ready.
Perfect. Are we ready? Diana, do you want to say anything to kick us off?
We're not like there's a ready to go.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
All right. Can everybody hear me? Is it better without the microphone? Okay. Hi, I'm Justin Everett. I'm the Regional Administrator for the Small Business Administration. Does anyone know what the Regional Administrator for the Small Business Administration does or is? Anyone? I've been trying to figure this out for 15 months. If you can tell me what my job actually entails, I'd greatly appreciate that. See, that one landed. Regional Administrator is the voice of small business policy implementation for Trump administration for 6-state region, Wyoming, obviously, Montana, Utah, the Dakotas, and where I hail from, someplace you may have heard of. It used to be pretty cool. Friends don't let friends be the state anymore, but Colorado. So, and the Colorado joke always lands in Wyoming every time. But we're here to talk about the small business ecosystem in the economic ecosystem here in Wyoming, which is fantastic. I can tell you from a federal perspective, we have definitely flattened the organizations in the federal level, and collaboration is the key term we've been using. It's kind of funny. We'll be on these calls with headquarters, and Amy Lee, my district director from Wyoming, she's career service, I'm political, so she has to listen when they say, oh, we all have to get along and work together. And coming from Wyoming, it's kind of like the craziest thing. So I get to roll my eyes because in Wyoming, you have to work together. And I think it's that frontiersmen, frontierswomen attitude that we have here where you have to work together. And when everybody's moving west, you didn't work together and utilize all the resources at your disposal. You died of starvation, you froze to death, you died from exposure. Something with large teeth maybe ate you if you weren't prepared and didn't collaborate. So it's something we do. But as you're going to find out from the panel today is a huge amount of collaboration, a lot of information, and hopefully you find a lot of value from this today. But I'm probably about to get the hook. They told me that, being a former politician, I had 3 minutes, and I'm like, that's like 3 hours. I can take 3 hours, so I'm not gonna do that. But I want to start off by quick introductions. Starting with Tyler. There, grab the microphone, buddy, and remember, you're supposed to stand.
Excellent. Well, good morning. I'm Tyler Harrison. I'm with USDA. I'm the state director out here for regional development, or rural development, sorry. You going? Or am I just introducing
You're
myself?
introducing yourself?
Just quick introduction.
You get it. I'll go.
Quick
That's
introduction.
me, from Wyoming.
Hi everyone, my name is Rylan O'Brien. I'm the Venture Development Manager with the Wyoming Business Council.
Hi, I'm Savannah Vasquez. I am the Business Training and Support Unit Manager for the Department of Workforce Services.
Good morning, I'm Paul Huberty. I'm the Executive Director of the Wind River Development Fund on the reservation.
Good morning, my name is Joseph Pals. I'm the President of Wyoming Capital Access.
And good morning, I'm Jill Klein. I'm the State Director for the Wyoming Small Business Development Center Network, and I'll get into what the word network means because we have multiple programs to serve multiple areas of business.
And I'm Amy Lee. I'm your SBA Wyoming District Director based in Casper. We serve the whole state. With that, pass that to Tyler.
So quickly, everybody knows the format. We're going to do presentations. We have a quick question. We're going to go through everybody, and then audience participation. So have your questions ready, please. Tyler, take it away.
Excellent. Well, good morning. I'm Tyler Harrison again. I'm the Rural Development State Director here in Wyoming. Today, fortunately, you've had 3 days of meeting some of my staff who did tremendous jobs of introducing their programs. So I'm going to move through our programs rather quickly today because I'm hoping we can generate some questions out here from the audience and move forward and show you all the opportunities that happen. In Wyoming itself, we kind of focus on 3 different areas at this office. Rural development has over 70 programs, so it's quite difficult to explain all 70 programs in 3 minutes. But I'll go down to 3 that we focus on, and that's business programs, family housing programs, and community facilities. I really don't have a favorite. They're all awesome in Wyoming. It's just a tremendous place to be able to take these resources and take them out to the field and share it with Wyoming. These are our biggest programs, but I'm gonna break this down to what we call the A, B's, and C's. First of all, we want to have affordable housing for folks. That's our biggest key on the A's. The B's is business and economic development. That's our second focus of our programs. And the third is community infrastructure. And that's the one where we can really come in and help communities with critical infrastructure, water, sewer, emergency equipment, things of that nature. But all three of these programs fall under these, one of these different programs. We're going to talk a little bit more about these as we get into the questions and answers, because I think some of them are going to apply to some of the folks here specifically, but I have a ton of partners up here today that I won't be able to share their briefs with today. So just by the numbers, this year, since Trump administration, we've awarded $153 million statewide and 358 investments statewide. And I'm clouding around, so we got 3 other investments coming in that I'm super excited about. I can't release them right now, but they're going to generate probably around 300 to 500 jobs in Wyoming. So we're pretty excited about this new venture coming in. And one last thing before I go, send it over to my teams. I just want to thank my team. They're great. They do an awesome job. I want y'all to come by the booth, get their cards. Anything that we talk about today, if you have more questions about, feel free to ask me here or come by and get a booth, by our booth and get a card from them. We're here to help you. Don't be afraid of any of our grant programs. Because people are like, the federal government is so hard to work with. Our staff will get you through that grant. We'll get you through the writing, the prep, and everything else. And we have so many great programs that will help you with technical assistance. So we'll write business plans for you. We'll write, future opportunities. There's so many things we can do and so many things we can leverage. But we need you to come to us and talk to us. And if you want us to come to you, if you have something in your community, something in your business, somewhere, anything you want, if you want our staff to come down and share more closely and more directly the programs we have to offer, please let us know. We're here for you. We get paid by you and we want to work for you. So please give us a call and let us help you access some of our funds. Thank you.
All right, Tyler, you get a question.
I get a question.
So questions are supposed to be pre-submitted. It says in my notes, Tyler did not pre-submit a question. Tyler and the USDA are good partners with the SBA. Please ask him something nice that you think he can handle. Amy must have said that. Okay, what can he handle? Tyler, what is your favorite color?
Blue.
Okay, perfect. You can tell. In all seriousness, so USDA and SBA work closely together when it comes to access to capital for small businesses, government-backed loans. Tyler, can you talk about the programs and sort of what we're doing in Wyoming to make sure that businesses get access to capital?
Yeah, that's excellent. That was kind of one of our priorities when we came in. Amy and I actually sat down initially right off the bat. And one of the things we have, and I'm going to use this term, stovepipe, federal agencies sit in these tubes. We talk, we work in the same office, but we never even talk to each other. And one of the things that we have to do is be able to look at other programs. So if you come to our office, for example, or Amy's office and say, I need $50 million for a project, Amy's going to say, whoa, that's not my lane, but you know what is? This. And I'll do the same. Our whole idea is to actually extend these federal programs out to everybody and make sure that we're all aligned. So we spend a lot of time together. We go to a lot of conferences. If you see Amy at a conference and we're not there, I almost promise you, you'll have our information on her deck as well. Same with us. We'll bring her information out. The whole idea is to get as much access to you and to the capital that we have. And here's the bottom line. We're not real big fans on just government handouts. It's really not what we want to do. What we really want to do through this administration is actually get that money out to the people who really need it and really want to benefit from it. And doing that is easy. And if we are in Wyoming, trust me, I'm from Wyoming, I'm here. I want our money spent in Wyoming. I want Wyoming to be built up and big and proud and have industry. I want my kids not to want to have to leave for a job at the end of their high school career. I want them to stay here and want to live in Wyoming. I left for 26 years. I didn't have a job in Wyoming. I'm not a ranger, obviously. But anyways, and the last thing is just please ask questions. And that goes for the Wyoming folks too. Everybody on the Wyoming Business Council, the Grants Management Office, we all advocate for each other. And I can say, since I came on this job, and my predecessor, Glenn, he's right here, and I think he would agree with me, that Wyoming's grant management office has done a fantastic job of getting us all together and aligning all the different programs together. And I'm really respectful and appreciative of that. And that's it. That's pretty much it. Does that answer your question?
The blue was all I needed.
The blue was all you needed? Went so long?
Pass the mic. Okay, Rylan O'Brien, Venture Development Manager, Wyoming Business Council. Anyway, Rylan.
Yeah, thanks a ton. I might sneak around the table here. Post up a bit, but thank you, appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to join this panel today. Really excited to be joined by a number of the stakeholders across Wyoming's ecosystem, and really excited to talk a little bit about YBC and the work that we do underneath the Business Council. And YBC is the venture capital fund that sits underneath the Wyoming Business Council. I would first like to start off by saying venture is a very unique asset class, and not every company is fit for the venture growth model. But those that are typically do start out as very small teams, very small businesses. One of the metrics that we report to our federal treasury team with is the number of businesses that we work with that are qualified as very small businesses or having 10 or less employees. So while these are high growth ventures, typically a lot of the companies that we work with have small teams solving massive national and or global problems to bring their technologies to market and really commercialize these large opportunities. So really what we do with YBC is we're catalyzing a vibrant startup ecosystem by supporting and capitalizing Wyoming entrepreneurs building high growth startup companies. So again, not every company is meant for the venture sort of growth path, but for the right business model that can scale and grow rapidly without those costs growing alongside them, that is sort of the sweet spot for venture capital. So with YBC, we have a few different strategies in our investment thesis. I first want to cover some of the dilutive and early stage investment categories here. And when I say dilutive capital, I mean that is a company going out, raising venture dollars in exchange for equity in the company. So investors are taking the equity in the company. Usually in ventures specifically, they take some sort of control in the company too through a board seat or some sort of board representation to where they can have some sort of steering ability in the company. So that is also another thing to be mindful of as you're considering a potential venture growth path. You will slowly start to give up control in the company, which is also something to be very just mindful of and very forward with in consideration of having some of these fundraise conversations with investors all across the nation. So one of our investment strategies is a fund of fund strategy where we can support emerging fund managers who are raising private capital from high net worth individuals to deploy into companies. And really what they are doing in that fund of funds program is similar to what we do in our YBC Direct strategy, where we are actually directly investing into these companies in exchange for equity. So the state is taking an equity position in these companies. And when these companies go out and exit one day, they have a very large exit event as opposed to distributions over time to their investor base. That really builds the corpus of the evergreen fund structure, which creates this fund that allows for future flexibility to do additional debt options or additional funding options within the sort of venture landscape. So fund of funds and our direct strategy. And then we also, within the Business Council, have a few non-dilutive or grant opportunities. So the difference between the dilutive and non-dilutive there is the non-dilutive is not expected to be paid back over time. The Business Council sees this as economic impact, where if there is, in Kickstarter, for example, that is a up to $50,000 non-dilutive early stage grant opportunity for companies that have gone through an accelerator or some sort of pitch competition and been a finalist in. They can apply for the $50,000 non-dilutive grant funding to go start to accomplish a certain set of milestones to show investors, hey, I'm attacking a global problem and I'm going to need probably $200 million to do it over the course of time, but with 50,000, I'm going to accomplish X, Y, and Z to get me on that path to show you that I know what I'm talking about and that you as an investor should be comfortable knowing that I'm the expert in my business and I will be able to scale it and exit it one day. So Kickstart and innovation grants, those are both non-dilutive funding opportunities. Innovation grants are the SBIR and STTR matching programs within the Business Council, but really all of these programs together create a pipeline for venture opportunities in the state, where previously in Wyoming, if a company was to go out and raise anywhere from $5 to $10 million for their next set of milestones, the capital really dries up. So this suite of organizations and programs really serve as that pipeline to keep growing and scaling in Wyoming without the need to exit and go to a Silicon Valley or a Boston area where there's a lot of venture capital dollars. So really, what have these programs done? Well, every year we put together what we call the deal flow report. This captures the activity in the ecosystem, which is great signaling to investors to say, hey, there are high growth companies in the ecosystem that are raising venture rounds that I could go put my money into as an investor. So this report captures all of the physical activity that takes place in the state, where if you were to just do a quick Google search on what sort of venture deals are you seeing in the state, you would see that Wyoming has up to $3 billion invested in these high growth ventures, but in all reality, there's some bit of anonymity that exists in LLCs in the state, where not all of that is actually getting into Wyoming. So we really put together this report to understand what does Wyoming look like and is it competing? And the takeaways from the 2025 deal flow report is Wyoming is not underperforming, it's emerging. When we look at the amount of deals that took place in 2019 in Wyoming, it was 12. In 2024, it was 24. In 2025, it was 35. So the increase in 1 year is equivalent to the base that we started with in 2019. So from an overall activity standpoint, we are growing and becoming a competitive venture ecosystem in Wyoming. We do see a lot of early stage funding rounds turning into more growth and later stage rounds, which is exciting to see that companies are able to start and start building a team, start building a business, and stay in Wyoming without needing to leave, where previously they would have exited our deal flow report and not even been captured. So it's really exciting to see that there's now data to support the fact that these companies can stay in Wyoming, continue growing and scaling, and exit one day. Another exciting thing from 2025 is there's a lot of accelerator and pre-seed stage buildup. I'm using a lot of venture type terms here, so without getting in too deep into the weeds, I tried to boil it down to the high points here, because otherwise I could talk for 2 hours about what venture is and how it differs from public equities and a growth plan for a different type of business. But that's a high-level coverage of the 2025 deal flow report. Feel free to check out that QR code. It should take you to our website, which is, I believe the URL is wyomingbusiness.org. And there are additional resources that I didn't talk about today, such as STEP, MEG, and loan opportunities within the Business Council. But for the purposes of today's conversation, just wanted to focus on YC. Thank you.
All right, Rylan actually did submit questions. Actually, it's kind of near and dear to my heart because I've worked in the venture capital area and trying to get this is that next level when appropriate. So really on point question you submitted. So how do companies know when they're fit for Wyoming venture capital?
Yeah, great question. I submitted it myself. So, So as I mentioned before, not every company is meant for the venture backable sort of growth journey. These are high growth companies. So when I say high growth, I mean a company that's able to start and have the ability to scale their revenues, triple their revenues 2 years in a row. So triple, and then double, and double without the cost of their businesses scaling at that rate as well. So these are very high growth venture opportunities where typically we see companies going from a $10 million type early stage valuation to, at the point that they exit, we see anywhere in the neighborhood of a couple $100 million to maybe even $1 billion. So the ability to scale is super important when it comes to measuring whether or not you're fit for the venture model. Another piece of that is attacking a market that is bigger than just a very specific niche geography. So if you were attacking just a Wyoming specific market, saying, I just want to make every Wyomingite happy and put this device in their hands, your market is not big enough due to the population size of Wyoming to be able to scale and hit that triple, double growth type path. And then lastly, the point to make there is there needs to be some sort of exit plan, not distributions over time. The way that venture investors raise funds is from high net worth individuals, but they have to communicate their investment thesis in a way that outpaces any sort of typical standard investment mechanisms that exist today. So usually the benchmark is the S&P 500, and in order to outproduce the S&P 500 from a return standpoint, the venture investors have to identify those opportunities that have the ability to 100x their investment, because there's a 90% chance that every investment that they make is going to go to zero. So the outsized returns from a couple of very high growth successful ventures make up for the losses of others in a venture fund. So hope that covered the aspects.
You did a fantastic job answering your own question. This is all serious, but a little levity, especially first thing in the morning. We haven't had enough caffeine. Savannah with Wyoming Department of Workforce Services. Take it away, please.
Thank you. So I'm going to kind of shift a little bit towards the workforce kind of end of grant funding. So kind of this wrong way. Okay, getting there. So kind of just starting with who we are. So I think a lot of people are really familiar with the Department of Workforce Services, and most people associate that with UI, maybe workers' comp, OSHA, all great programs, but then within all of that is also the business training and support unit. And so this unit is really focused on providing funding towards business entities and Wyoming entities to grow their workforce and expand occupation and industry within the state of Wyoming. A lot of information on this slide. We have a lot of grant opportunities running right now, so I'll kind of just do a quick highlight of what we have running right now, and then I highly recommend, if you want to kind of dive into these a little more, stop at our booth and we'll really walk through like what we have available and see if it's the right fit for you. So kind of starting, so within the business training and support unit, we have 4 different programs. So we have the Workforce Development Training Fund, which houses 5 separate grants for businesses to utilize. And then we have our Y apprenticeship team, which is really focused on the expansion and growth of registered apprenticeship programs in the state of Wyoming. And then we also have a Y Quality Counts program, which offers funding towards early childhood development training. And then we also have a Y Relocate program, which is more of a campaign to increase individuals to come to Wyoming to expand our workforce. So kind of starting with the Workforce Development Training Fund, we have our 2 most popular grants right now, which is our business training grant, which is for Wyoming-based businesses to utilize. The grant reimburses training expenses. So this is for any Wyoming-based business to utilize to send their current employees to trainings to either upskill or correct a skill deficiency for the individual. This reimburses registration, tuition, class fees, materials, as well as travel expenses. So airfare, mileage, and rental car expenses can be utilized for this. Government entities are not eligible for this grant unless they are an emergency medical service provider. Jumping into internships. So the purpose of this grant is for businesses to provide a short-term structured learning opportunity for an individual within an industry or occupation they might be interested in. So this grant specifically reimburses for the wages of the intern while they are working with your company. We reimburse up to 18 an hour, up to 960 hours, which is about 6 months of full-time work for an individual. And then businesses can have up to 6 interns per fiscal year, 10 if you are a registered apprenticeship program. There's a lot of other parameters that go into these grants. We're just kind of starting with high level. Our next grant we have is our apprenticeship training grant. So right now, nationwide, there is a huge focus and push for registered apprenticeship programs, which are great opportunities for both entities and individuals. So this grant specifically is available towards registered apprenticeship programs that are registered with the Department of Labor to apply for, or for an RTI provider. So that is the related technical instruction side of an apprenticeship program. So within an apprenticeship program, you have on-the-job learning hours matched with classroom instruction. So this grant specifically reimburses the classroom instruction side of your registered apprenticeship program. So again, that can be the entity who holds the program, or it can be the provider of the instruction. That could be a university, the community colleges. It's really open. The grant reimburses registration, tuition, class fees, materials, instructor wages, and fringe benefits, as well as license and certification fees associated with that registered apprenticeship program. The next grant is the Pre-Hire Economic Development Training Grant. This is really specific to training entities in the state of Wyoming. So that could be a private training organization, it could be a community college, it could be the university. But this is really to provide training towards an occupation or industry where there is an identified shortage of skilled workers in the state of Wyoming. So I know we have a couple pre-hire grantees in the room with us today, but think of this kind of as our best example is CDL training. So obviously there's a need for CDL trained individuals in the state. So this grant is for those training entities to apply for, and then we would reimburse the expenses for registration, tuition, class fees, materials, HR expenses, so background checks, drug screenings, as well as license and certification fees as well for the individuals. So it's really taking individuals who have no previous pre-employment skills, getting them trained within this occupation for their licensing or certification, and then getting them hired within Wyoming businesses within 90 days post-completion of their training. Next, we have pre-obligation, which is kind of a beast of a funding opportunity, but this is really for economic development entities to apply for on behalf and in support of businesses that are looking to relocate or expand in Wyoming in a large capacity. So it's essentially our program setting aside a pot of funding for these businesses to utilize towards either pre-hire or the business training grant. We do have a new federal grant that we were recently just awarded. It is the Industry-Driven Skills Training Grant. We're hoping for this grant to go live in the next month or two, but this will mirror our business training grant pretty closely. The only difference is that it will have higher funding caps, so businesses can actually utilize up to $500,000 over the course of 3 years, and then it is $15,000 per employee to be utilized towards the training. It does only cover registration, tuition, and class fee as a material, so this grant will not cover travel expenses. But this is a great opportunity. Some different high industries that we're prioritizing. So this grant is really focused on those high growth industries emerging in the state of Wyoming. So nuclear, mineral production, manufacturing, those industries. Next, we're touch base quickly on our Y apprenticeship team. So right now we have 2 federal grant opportunities that are running through our Y apprenticeship team. The first is they're both under SAFE, so that stands for State Apprenticeship Expansion Formula. We have 2 pathways. So the first is for sponsors. So if you are a business that has a registered apprenticeship program that is established with the Department of Labor, we do offer a $10,000 stipend that can be used to expand or grow your registered apprenticeship program. And then that is a one-time incentive that can be used towards maybe materials, classroom materials, mentor stipends, kind of whatever you're needing to grow your program. And then we also have a pre-apprenticeship stipend. So really to kind of fuel that pathway from pre-apprenticeship to internship to a registered apprenticeship program. And so that is a $5,000 stipend available to organizations. They do not have to be a registered apprenticeship program to utilize our pre-apprenticeship stipend. Really, you just have to meet one of 3 qualifications. That is either be partnered with a registered apprenticeship program, be working to establish your own, or be one, or be a registered apprenticeship program. So really to fuel that pathway to get into that registered apprenticeship program, which is about a 1 to 4 year training program. And then just some kind of key things we want to keep in mind when you're kind of looking at all these grants. I know it's a lot of grants on a really small page, but we have launched new grant management systems for all of our grant opportunities. So you can find applications for all of these grants in one central hub for both the Workforce Development Training Fund and the Y Apprenticeship Team. And then these opportunities are ongoing. So the Workforce Development Training Fund is generally funded. So these applications are open all year for businesses to apply for. And then we are more than happy to engage in one-to-one conversations with any organization. So if you're maybe not sure what grant opportunity is the right fit for you or your needs, definitely reach out to the team. We're more than happy to come to you, set Google Meets, just chat on the phone, whatever works best for you. There's a lot of information, a lot of fun, so we definitely want to make sure you have all the information you need, and then also know how you can potentially stack these grants. So a lot of them can be used interchangeably and at the same time. And then also the Department of Workforce Services itself houses a lot of other resources available to businesses for their workforce development needs or just their general business growth. So you have a local workforce center in all of your communities. So we have 18 centers across the state that are a great resource for you. And then again, I'll mention one more time, we do have a booth on this side. If you have questions on any of the funding, definitely stop by and reach out.
Don't run anywhere, Savannah. So, for those that are coachable, Savannah's question she pre-submitted has a little hook and a good lead in, but we are running a little long on time. But I can only do this question justice by reading it because it's actually pretty good. From your perspective, Savannah, what measurable impact have the programs had on local employers and workers? And what is your best advice for small businesses looking to successfully navigate the application process and maximize its funding? Short answer.
Yeah, that was way longer than I remember submitting. But these grants are really great for Wyoming businesses to use to grow their workforce and expand on the current workforce that they have. We do a lot of final reporting measures to make sure there is success of the program, and then taking any feedback we get to make sure that we're continuing to not move and shift the grants to be what the Wyoming businesses need to continue their growth. As far as some advice as far as navigating the grants, it's a lot, right? And there's a lot of opportunities. The main thing is utilize our website. So our website is going to be the #1 source of information for all of these grants. You'll see rules, you'll see instructions. It's a lot of reading, a lot of information, but take that time to really read through and really understand the grants, and then reach out to us if you have any questions. We definitely want you to be successful in navigating these grant opportunities, so really use us. We are here to support you and grow your workforce, or bring in those interns, or build an apprenticeship program. So we're here to support.
Perfect. Thank you, Savannah. All right, Paul, Executive Director with Wind River Development Fund.
Great.
Take it away, Paul.
Well, thank you, Amy, for inviting us up here today. I'm so excited to get here. I woke up at 3:30 this morning. Left the big town of Hudson, Wyoming. Everybody know where Hudson, Wyoming is? A couple? Okay, great. So my caffeine's going to run out in exactly 6 minutes, so it's going to keep me on schedule. But I really am happy to be here. We have so many amazing, wonderful things happening on the reservation, and I'm here representing really hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are working together to create a new economic opportunity in Wind River. Just a little bit of background about us. I have 2 jobs, actually. We have 2 organizations, Wind River Development Fund and Wind River Sage Fund, and my colleague Erica Yarber is here. She's also the Chief Operating Officer for both organizations. Wind River Development Fund this year is celebrating our 25th anniversary. We were started in 2001 by the Eastern Shoshone Tribe as a nonprofit, and what makes us very, very unique is that we are what's called a native CDFI. A CDFI is a community development financial institution. In short, we are really a nonprofit lending organization certified by the U.S. Treasury every year. And we are the best native CDFI in Wyoming. We can say that for sure because we are the only. And we are one of only 66 in the entire country. We were set up, and others like us, because Native people did not have access to capital to start businesses like everybody else. Hope there's no bankers in here, but oftentimes when Indigenous people go to a commercial bank and ask for money to start a business, they're told no. And they can give all kinds of reasons, and there's a lot of complexity to that. What we try and do is say yes. We want to see people succeed. We want to see people live their dreams. And if we can help one person move from a side hustle to a business that creates intergenerational wealth, then we've done our job. What else we got here? Wind River Sage Fund. So we started that in September of 2024. We were fortunate to win a very large federal award, a $36 million award from EDA in 2024. And what we realized is we needed to set up a separate nonprofit to just run that award through it. And so in a matter of about 30 days, we started Wind River Sage Fund. And that now has a total of $40 million of federal grants that are flowing through that organization. So that was just the last 2 years. Focusing on our small business lending, we really try and focus on smaller businesses. We're trying to create that foundation of a new entrepreneurial economy in Wind River, Fremont County, and Hot Springs County is our primary focus area. We lend up to $400,000. Currently, our portfolio is around $4 million, and we have around 36 loans supporting entrepreneurs in our market. So if you think about that kind of money, whether it's a $5,000 loan, or we actually did a very big loan last year, a $650,000 loan with one of our partners. This is helping people move from that idea stage to the actual doing stage. And again, the goal is to create intergenerational wealth. We all want to pass on something to our kids and our grandkids that we didn't have. And if they succeed even better than we succeeded, then that's great. We often lend up to 100% of loan value. Sometimes people just don't have that extra cash to have a down payment against a loan. And so we talk to them. We spend a lot of time talking to our clients and understanding exactly what they're trying to achieve. And within the parameters of what we can do, if we can lend 100% of that loan, we do. We have below market rates. Commercial banks, I don't know what they're charging now, probably 10 to 15%, depending upon the risk. Our average right now is about 6.5 to 7%. And we tie the loan to the business. So we have a lot of ranchers that we support on the reservation. They get paid once a year when they go to sell their cows. So when they get paid, they pay us once a year. And the other thing is just around collateral. Because of the funding that we get and the different funding sources, we do have to have some kind of collateral. We have a lot of cows as collateral and brands as collateral. I said to Erica the other day, I hope we don't ever have to collect on that because I haven't been on a horse in a long time. So. The last slide is kind of what's new and exciting with the Recompete grant that we got, that $36 million grant. We, as Wind River Sage Fund, are now leading the design, development, and construction process for 2 brand new buildings on the reservation. One is the Tribal Buffalo Center that will be located at the Wind River Tribal Buffalo Initiative. They are currently operating out of an old farmhouse. And they are growing the buffalo herd on the reservation. I think with all the calves this spring that there's somewhere around 300 buffalo between the 2 tribal herds. And part of this grant, we wrote them into the grant as our partner because that's kind of how we view things. And they're going to get this brand new building on the left. Construction will start in November and it will open March of 2028. The other big project we have is what we're calling the Ecotourism Visitor Center. We see a lot of economic opportunity in capturing tourism in the state. Every April and May, I start to see this endless supply of RVs and campers heading toward Yellowstone and Teton. And there's really nowhere on the reservation for them to stop and engage with our community and our culture. So we're putting up this building. It's going to be the future home of tribal fish and game. The reservation is 2.2 million acres. Yellowstone is 2.2 million acres. Yellowstone has somewhere around 230, 240 rangers. Our reservation has 4. And they never had a permanent home. So we are going to create a permanent home for them and welcome the public and tell them how they can enjoy the reservation. So that's my quick spiel. And I think I have a question.
Yeah, it's strange. He also submitted a question. So clearly Tyler's a blue sheep here. I'm black sheep. So actually I have 2 questions. One, being from Colorado, everybody in Wyoming tells me whenever I see a fuzzy cow that's called a buffalo or bison, I'm supposed to go pet it. Is that good advice?
That's right.
Okay, just want to make sure. But the serious question is, as a native CDFI, do you only offer loans to tribal members?
Yeah, that's actually a question we get a lot. We are a native CDFI. Our focus is the reservation, but no, we don't only lend to tribal members. I think currently, right now, our portfolio is about 75% to native-owned businesses. Really, that's why we were established, was to fill that gap. But we also support anybody else in the area within Fremont County who has an idea for a business. And so our goal is to really elevate the economy in the entire region, but we're just super focused in one particular part of the state.
I have a question. So if you have a tribal member that lives in a different community in Wyoming, are they eligible to apply for a loan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have to be a tribal member of the Wind River or of a.
No, I mean, we'll look at loans from other areas of the state, but because of our annual certification, we have to be primarily focused in Wind River.
Okay, so it's more on location than being a member of the tribe.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I forgot.
Extra question.
Extra question. Okay, so next up is Amy Lee with the Small Business Agency. It's agency, right?
That's exactly right, Justin.
Or is it association?
Yeah.
You have a slide with my position description in there because I'm still trying to figure that one out. Amy Lee, Small Business Administration, excuse me.
Thank you, Justin. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys all for being here today. We're so excited and honored to be part of this. I just want to let you know that the slides are up on the State Grants Office website, so you can access them later. You also have kind of seen a smattering of programs so far, and you're probably wondering, wow, do I need to remember all these? The answer is you don't. You just need to remember who some of the people in the room are, because our jobs are to know each other's programs. And so if you have a question and you're not sure which program it is, we can help get you there. That is what we do at the Small Business Administration. We serve as a connector across the state to other small business resources. And I just also have to give you a shout out, Paul and Erica. What you guys are doing is just amazing. And I've watched you since I was a baby business counselor in 2001. Grow your organization, and you just embody what it means to dream big in Wyoming and to see those dreams come true. So it's really incredible. Pay attention to what they're doing if you haven't already. Some cool things up here. Freedom 250. This is an exciting celebration on behalf of the administration. If you go to the Freedom 250 page, sba.gov/freedom250, there's an opportunity to engage in the Freedom 250 pledge. As a business owner, if that appeals to you. But we've got some marketing here about that, talking about just how businesses for 250 years have really been what built the American dream. And so we're excited to be part of that. Thank you. Other things to know about SBA, we do 3 core things. We provide counseling and training. Most of that is through our resource partners. Jill's going to talk a lot more about that with SBDC, which we partner with the Wyoming Business Council as funders of on the federal side. We provide government contracting assistance. And so that's one of SBA's core missions. We help small businesses figure out how to sell to the federal government, which is the biggest customer in the world, and how to get ready. We also work on the backside with federal agencies to increase the spend of the federal government and make sure that small businesses are getting their hands on those opportunities. 23% of federal prime contracting dollars are to go to small businesses, and so we try to engage and make that happen. And the third thing we do is provide access to capital. I'm going to just give a shout out to my slide where we've got Tammy Hanshaw and Drew James. That's the other 2/3 of your SBA team here in Wyoming. We also have Andrew Cutler in the back who spoke yesterday as part of our disaster recovery resources at the agency. He's based in Denver. And then again, Justin Everett as our regional administrator, also based in Denver. Okay, the third thing SBA does, and what I came to talk about here today, is provide access to capital. How do we do that? We do that by guaranteeing loans made by our participating lenders across the state. And why would you want an SBA loan? Because lenders are very risk-averse individuals. And so if you're a new business getting started, or the Wyoming way, if your brother-in-law or sister-in-law or the person next door is trying to start a business, you can take this information back to them and share, as we all do in Wyoming, and help connect them with that. That loan guarantee that we can provide to that lender is that if you don't pay your loan back, we're going to share in that risk with the lender, and we're going to help make the lender whole. Who does that protect? The lender, not you. So you want to make sure that you understand what you're doing if you're getting into a federal government loan. And we at SBA and our partners at USDA will help you understand. I see Cynthia back there with USDA. We're doing a lot of outreach together to make sure that you know which loan program is best. But an SBA guaranteed loan can be used for most business purposes. Start or expand a business, purchase a business, working capital. And you know, those are all great uses. What's new? We have 2 cool things that have just come online. The SBA Grocery Guarantee is a loan program that provides a 90% guarantee to lenders for businesses that are in the food supply chain. So that might be ranchers, that might be businesses that are doing some kind of value-added agriculture, it might be refrigerated storage, all of those kind of things. And then the second cool new thing is our Made in America Loan Guarantee Program, designed to help manufacturers. And so if you are making something, making a product and selling it, and helping to bring that supply chain back on shore, create good jobs in rural communities, that's what that loan program is designed for. Tammy Hanshaw on my team, her full-time job is working with lenders around the state to help them figure out the SBA paperwork. So it's nothing you need to worry about. We'll help your lender figure out what they need from you if you need a guarantee. But if you do, sometimes that can mean your term of your loan can be longer, and sometimes it can mean that that is a lower monthly payment for you so that you can keep cash for working capital. The last thing I want to announce that's just brand new, hot off the presses, effective July 4th, so that's going to be, I'm sure, part of our Freedom 250 celebrations talking about this, is that SBA has doubled its cumulative loan limit. Before, we used to be capped at $5 million. Now, if you are going to use a program called our 504 program, which Joseph's going to talk more about, so I'm excited to hear what he has to say. In addition to our other loan program, our flagship loan program is called our 7A loan program, you can access up to $10 million from SBA, so super exciting. And the last thing I'm going to close with, what I want you to take away, is that we have resource partners that we work with all across the state and country, really. In Wyoming, the Wyoming Small Business Development Center Network is our major partner that has resources in communities around the state. I won't go into that more because I know Jill will talk about it. We have a microloan fund through the Wyoming Women's Business Center based in Laramie. They serve women and men and can make small loans of $50,000 if you're not able to secure capital on other traditional terms. What I want you to realize about that is you start seeing some of these pieces up here, is that there's a continuum of financing resources available in the state. So if you just need a small amount of money, SBA's gotcha through the microloan program. If you need a little bit more money, some of our guaranteed loan programs through SBA, through USDA, we can help you get into slightly larger loans. And then as you need even more capital to expand your business, our 504 loan program is a great fit. And so, we also cross-refer to the Wind River Development Fund as appropriate. All of us try to make sure that we're getting you to the right resource partner and that you're taking advantage of the programs at the Wyoming Business Council. Some of their programs are even better than ours when it comes to their succession loan program and trying to buy a business, transfer that to the next generation, and making use of the workforce development training grants, because we want you to hire people and grow that business. We also have our VBOC program, Veterans Business Outreach Center, based in Billings. They serve the whole state. Drew James on our team is our Army veteran and Veterans Business Outreach Coordinator, so we can connect you with him as well. With that, I'm gonna wrap.
Okay. Two shameless plugs since I give the microphone. Number one, everybody's maybe thinking, well, my taxpayer dollars are going to back loans, and how does that work out? So under this administration, we are on target to have that down to a 2% default rate by the end of this fiscal year, which is pretty amazing compared to private lenders. When you come to the SBA, you're not in trouble, you're usually looking to expand. So it's about growth, it's about those things. Also, and this is just a plug for the Mountain West, especially Wyoming, is that from in the fiscal year 2025, lending was up 43% throughout the SBA. Skewed statistic because the Mountain West, including Wyoming, hugely skewed that statistic. There's a lot of activity on the lending side that's going on. I think Tyler probably will tell you as well in the USDA. So, Wyoming punches way above its weight. But, Tyler, do you think Amy submitted a question?
I would imagine,
Yeah,
because she
so,
submitted one for me too.
Exactly. Do you understand? Tyler and I have done this dog and pony show plenty of times. So we're friends. Sometimes he's the dog, sometimes he's the pony. Today he's the dog. And Amy, there are many different loan programs at the SBA. How do businesses figure out what kind of financing makes the most sense for them?
You bet. Thanks, Justin. What our goal always is in commercial lending is to match the source and use of funds. What does that mean? That means we want to make sure that whatever asset you are acquiring for your business, let's say it's a piece of equipment that you are going to use, we want to make sure that you're acquiring that and you're making your payments on that over its useful life. So a lot of equipment might be useful for, let's say, 7 years. And so in that case, we want to find a loan program that's going to have a 7-year term. And so we might have a 7A loan program that we can very easily use for that purpose. If you're buying a building, and I am going to turn this over to Joseph to talk about this right now, you may want to look at our 504 program, which allows for a low down payment and for you to finance that with a great blended interest rate over 25 years. So Justin, I'm going to turn it directly over to Joseph to continue on.
You have to go back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Just keep going back.
All right, so good morning. My name is Joseph Pounce. I'm the president of Wyoming Capital Access. And Wyoming Capital Access is the certified development company in Wyoming that handles the SBA's 504 program. So the 504 program is for purchasing real estate and furniture, fixtures, and equipment, FF&E, that go along with the real estate. So you can't have a hotel without having beds. That would be your FF&E. If you're a manufacturer and you need your lathe to make your equipment, to make your product, that is your FF&E. I can't do the loans by myself. What's it doing? I don't know why it's forwarding. I don't know. It's on its own, so it's doing its own thing. I don't know. But the 504 program does work with traditional financing to generate your total package. So let's say for easy math for me, because I'm not a banker, you need $1 million loan to purchase your building and your FF&E. Traditional bank will come in with first place mortgage at 50% of your loan. So they'll be in $500,000 in your first place mortgage. The SBA through the CDC, through Wyoming Capital Access, will be in your second place lien at as much as 40% of the loan, so $400,000, meaning you only have to come up with 10% down. So your $100,000 to cover your $1 million loan for your building and your equipment. And the SBA guarantees your 40% through the CDC. If you're a startup, the SBA requires an additional 5%, so 15% down. If you're a special purpose use building, so a bowling alley or an automotive facility, something that cannot readily be converted into something else, they require an additional 5% down, so up to 20% down. They also offer refinance options with or without expansion. So if you need to purchase a new building or refinance high interest credit card debt, as long as that credit card debt was used for the building, I can wrap that into your mortgage as well. But the long and short of it is you do end up with 2 mortgages on the property. Good part about this, the way the 504 works, is it is long-term financing. It is below prime. You asked earlier what the bank rate is. Right now, prime for banks is right around 8%. Rates just came out for the 504, since it's backed by a bond on Wall Street. Right now, the 504 is at 6%. It is fixed for the life of the loan. Loans are set for 10, 20, or 25-year financing.
What was that, 10, 20?
10, 20, or 25-year financing. Because of the way that the 504 program works, the 504 program actually does make money for Uncle Sam. It is backed by a bond. So because of that, it does have a prepayment penalty for half of the term loan. So if you do a 20-year loan, there is a decreasing prepayment penalty for the first 10 years. It comes with the amortization table that we give you at closing, but if you do a 20-year loan, after the first 10 years, you can just pay it off. But up to the 10-year mark, that's like a prepayment penalty. But it is fixed rate financing, long-term. It does cover your major investments, your equipment, your furnitures, your fixtures, your equipment, the building itself, and it does have to have a useful life of 10 years or more. So if you're going to set up we're doing a laundromat right now in Cheyenne. So you can't do a laundromat without having washers, dryers, and the equipment that go along with it. As long as the manufacturer says it has 10-year lifespan, we can wrap that into the financing. We also have a direct loan program. My board lets me do up to $250,000 in the direct loan program. What's really fun about that direct loan program is the SBA does not care where your 10% down comes from. So let's say you don't have the 10%, but as long as your business cash flows and you need your $100,000 down, I can lend you that as well. My rates right now are around that 8% prime. So how do you get this? Easy. Get over to my website, WyomingCapitalAccess.com, click apply. Reach out to me, give me a call. If you have any questions, I have a flyer. Visit me. I'm over here on this side. Thank you.
All right, so we're on a little behind schedule, so no jokes about Tyler. Joseph, what can we do as borrowers or third-party lenders to make this process go faster?
So everything moves at the speed of government when it comes to SBA. Sorry, it's the truth. We all know it. It is the speed of government. Banks can approve their loans significantly faster than we can. We have to wait for the SLPC. So the easiest way to make everything go fast when we're waiting for the speed of government is to just respond quickly. Have your loan documents ready. The SBA has additional requirements that the bank's not going to have. Most of you have businesses in Wyoming, you know you don't need an operating agreement. SBA requires one. I have templates for all that, so if I say, hey, I need an operating agreement, I can send you a template, get it back to me. Most of the time, I'm waiting on the borrower to get these documents back to the SBA. The faster the borrower responds, the less time I have to wait for the SBA to move its feet of government.
All right, Joe Klein, State Director for Small Business Development Center.
Hello. Amy stole a lot of my thunder. No, she didn't really, but no, we work very closely together, so therefore she knows my program very well. Obviously, we get federal funding from them. And actually, Amy, would you go to the next, the next slide? Yeah, I should have started with this slide because we are federally funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration. We get state funding from the Wyoming Business Council. So we obviously work very closely with both of those entities, but we are very familiar with all of these, as Amy mentioned, because what we do, we don't have money to lend. We do have a grant opportunity that I'll get to, but our funding partners are Wyoming Business Council, SBA. We're hosted at the University of Wyoming. That's a federal rule that we be hosted by an institution of higher education because we really are educators and working with individual businesses. We also have an Apex Accelerator, which is a government contracting assistance, advising assistance, and again, work very closely with the SBA because that's one of their main goals as well. And that federal funder is the Department of Defense Office of Small Business Programs. So Amy, if you go back now, thank you. So I want to talk about why we are a network, the Wyoming Small Business Development Center Network. I call the SBDC kind of the umbrella organization because we have all kinds of categories we have to fulfill under our obligation with the SBA. And so we have an Apex Accelerator program that works towards offering government contracting assistance because there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to get to be able to do government contracting. So we have, and we almost collaborate on everything with Apex, with SBA, because that is their one area of another area of focus for them. We have a market research center. That's another category. We have to provide services to our clients regarding competitive intelligence for their business, their industry. They want facts. They want information about whatever their industry is to see if they have a viable idea. You know, is there a market for my product or service? We have my favorite program, an acronym within an acronym. I mean, it's the WSSI program, Wyoming SBIR STTR initiative. So that's the Wyoming Small Business Innovation Research or Small Business Technology Transfer Initiative. And we collaborate with SBA again on this through the FAST program, Federal and State Technology Program. It is a grant program, so we do have grant opportunities, access to them, but we also have a small grant to be able to assist these individual businesses that do qualify to participate. There's 11 federal agencies who are looking for solutions to problems, and they'll provide either a grant or a contract if you are awarded that grant. So we have a $5,000 phase 0 program that mimics what you'll have to do at the federal level, but on a much smaller scale. So Kelly's I keep looking over here and kind of pointing there because Kelly runs that program. If you have any particular questions on, hey, I have this idea, it's taking a concept, an idea to a commercialized state, but you'll need research and development to get to that state. So this is the phase 1. Phase 0 is where you start with Kelly and where state money comes in from the legislature through the Business Council. Again, working very closely with the Business Council, and then what Rylan mentioned, they have SBIR additional funding. So if you need SBIR, we can get into the details of those things. But that is a grant opportunity, and it is very helpful. And you not only get the funds if you're selected, but then you get all the advising and resources and connections that go with that. So I talked a little bit more about that program than I planned. We also have a cyber security program right now. Again, another SBA opportunity we took advantage of. And that unfortunately sunsets at the end of this August or this year. And, but we have been serving clients across the state to get their cyber, awareness minimally and to get standard operating procedures within their business. So, hey, I know what's happening within my business as far as what my employees have access to, which is probably the number one way people get in, because maybe the employees write the password down on a sticky note right by the computer. Who knows what happens there? But really, there are so many things you can do with our guidance or on your own that will help you be more cyber secure. So, despite the fact that program is ending, all of our advisors, and now I'm pointing to PJ because PJ is right here in Gillette, but we have our staff strategically scattered throughout the state in order to serve every community across the state.
Don't forget, I am a small business cybersecurity. So I finished an apprenticeship program using those funds, and I'm a certified small business cybersecurity advisor. Yep. We even have a certified ethical hacker on staff. Now, he doesn't have to get too involved anymore, but he can do wild things, and he's really helped our entire staff get up to speed on what we can or will do with our clients. So cyber index, market research, okay. You can skip to the last slide that I have. We don't really have money we don't have money to lend, but as I mentioned, we make sure we know all of these resources, that we work with all of these programs. And PJ is up here in Gillette, but each advisor across the state knows the connections, whether they're local or statewide. So all of our advising staff is aware of all these programs. So besides the WSSI FAST program, SBIR, Phase Zero, we don't really have money to lend, but we are here to help you launch. So from the beginning, if you come in as an advisor, we do focus on for-profit businesses, not nonprofits. So, but we do some nominal work with nonprofits as well, we can. And we do have resources for nonprofits, and we have places like the Wyoming Community, what is it called? Nonprofit Community Network. So, which they have a table right out here, and our table is right down the aisle from them. So we have those, we know, and more, that there's other resources, Align, Wyoming. Sometimes there's fees attached with working with nonprofits, and of course SCORE Wyoming here in Wyoming, they're happy to work with nonprofits at no cost. So another SBA program. But we'll assess, help you evaluate where you are and help you determine what path you do need to take. Are you ready for venture already? Or do you really need just a startup loan? Or did you get turned down by the bank for the small, startup business that you're trying to do? Maybe we can work together and with you, with the Women's Business Center, to get a micro loan to get you started. Whatever your path is, or perhaps you can self-fund too. So we will look at that. We'll help you develop all of those things to make that educated decision. And then we'll inform you of all of the opportunities to help you, and give you an idea of what those opportunities are. And so you can make an educated decision on, this is going to be the path I do want to take. We can help you with those applications. You've heard of some of the grant applications, especially through Workforce. Most of our advising staff have assisted with that preparation of those applications across the state as well. And then we'll make those connections for you. You know, if you need to talk to USDA or to Joseph, you know, at Capital Access, we're going to make those introductions to you. We won't do it for you. We are educators, advisors. It's your business. The expectation is that you do the work for your business. So we are not for hire to do these things for you, but we'll advise and guide you from that idea stage. Hey, let's determine if your idea is even viable, all the way through succession planning. Hey, I'm ready to retire. I don't have an exit strategy. We hope you do, but if you don't, we'll say, okay, let's help you get prepared now to exit this business, or if you have family members that you want to pass it on to, or what does that look like? So I like to say, from idea to exiting, anything in between, any challenge a business is facing, you can come to our advising staff and get the assistance you need, and for the life of your business. You know, we love to work with somebody from day one to the day they're ready to retire. So, anything I missed?
No, actually, a quick two-part question, quick
Okay.
answer, because we want to get some Q&A from the audience. Jill, can you please share more about the specific ways the SBDC advisors help businesses access the funding opportunities? We just heard about part one. Part two, will they help them research funding opportunities that might be a fit for their business and assist them with applications?
Okay, so the answer to the second one is yes. We will help them find access, or find what's right for them, and then if we'll help you through that application process. You know, every bank is different, and so if you've been to your bank and you know what they're looking for, hey, we'll help you put all those things together. Most of all of our advisors have relationships with the banks in their regions, so they know a lot of, oh, you're working with such and such bank. They typically want to see X, Y, and Z. So we can help you with that. So, and those grant applications, we've done many of them, so we're happy to try to help you. Hey, what does this mean? What are they really looking for here? We're happy to help you through that. The first part was how we.
Well, let's just jump into Q&A and
Okay.
audience. So first of all, please give our panelists a hand. All right, questions from the audience. We covered a lot of material. There's got to be at least a couple questions. Anyone? Bueller? Ferris
Hold
Bueller?
on. Let me bring the mic to you.
This question is for Workforce Services. We have, you talked about small businesses. I didn't hear you say anything about, can nonprofits apply for those grants? And also, can a one-person startup get money to train themselves?
Yeah. Yes, so nonprofits are eligible for all of our grant opportunities. The main two grants that have eligibility limits is the business training grant and the internship grant. So you just cannot be a government entity if you are trying to utilize those grants with that EMS exception. One thing that we do in our registration is if you are a nonprofit, we ask you to break down how you are funded in your registration process, just so we can confirm that governmental component. But yes, so nonprofits are eligible, and then sole proprietors are also eligible for the grant funds as well. So really anybody, especially for that business training grant, which is really popular among those one-person or organizations. So yes, you can send yourself to training. Really anybody at any level of any company can utilize the business training grant.
More questions. More questions. Okay, Jill, you get to answer that first question.
Yeah, which
was, can you please share more about some specific ways the SBDC advisors help businesses access the funding opportunities we heard about? And then second half, I think you kind of covered.
answered that.
Yeah, and then the second half was, will the SBDCs help them research funding opportunities that might be a fit for business and assist them with applications, which you also covered.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then.
Well, and in full disclosure, I did not submit a question. So,
that ruins the whole thing, Jill. We all have
I
tables.
didn't know that. Just didn't know that.
There might be some questions you want to ask offline specific to your business or your nonprofit. We all have tables here. Please feel free. We'll be here all day with SBDC. SBDC, SBA, everybody. See, it's alphabet soup when you work with the federal government especially. But USDA, obviously, and everybody here. So please utilize the resources. If there's no more questions,
Sorry. So Rylan used an acronym, he said the MEG, and some people may not know what the MEG is, but I think it's very beneficial. The market expansion, grant opportunity, I know what it is, but other people might want to.
Yeah, great call out. I wanted to keep it focused in the YBC realm, just so my slides talk to each other. Otherwise, it would have been like, what is this guy doing? Where does he work? But anyways, the market expansion grant is a very interesting program that is administered in the Business Council where companies can apply looking to expand their markets to reach outside of Wyoming. So if they're trying to look into neighboring markets, neighboring states, or go nationally or go globally, there is the market expansion grant that can be used to pay for things like trade show entries, booth space, marketing materials to be able to unlock that sort of expansion and growth opportunity for your business. So I am not the manager of that program, but I can most definitely hook anybody up that's interested with Kate McMillan on our team to give a little bit more color there.
Yes. And while we're talking about that, I also want to mention SBA's STEP grant, which is a sister program to the MEG grant and is a grant program that SBA has awarded the Wyoming Business Council State Trade Expansion Partnership. So if you are a small business looking to become an exporter internationally, there are some grant funds on a reimbursable basis that can help offset your cost of exploring and expanding those new markets. So we partner on that as well.
Thank you for that call out. I did not remember the acronym to STEP, so I didn't mention it there, so thank you.
Just one more shout out, because at 11 o'clock, we're doing a technical, or SBA's facilitating a technical assistance panel. And I'll get into more details about the technical assistance we provide along with others. And we work on all of those. The STEP grant, we work together with the Business Council. We just work with everybody to the best of our ability. So thanks, Justin.
Any more questions? Well, thanks, guys, and stick around for the next session. I think we're in this room, right?
Yep.
So plenty more information, definitely technical details you wanted to.
One more.
Just one more quick thing. So on our slides, we did current funding opportunities. I did current funding opportunities, but we were actually just notified 2 or 3 days ago. We were just awarded our next round of those apprenticeship funds. So SAFE round 4 is about to launch hopefully in the next month or so, but we did get additional funds to continue that apprenticeship expansion. So more funds to come.
All right, you guys wrote all this down, right? You got this? Perfect. All right, thank you, everybody.